Over at BangTheBook.com, we are your one-stop shop for sports betting news and information. Starting to roll out some of our preseason NBA content as that season begins in just a week here. Obviously, lots of college football and NFL as we go throughout the week, including my college football power ratings, which are posted on Monday morning. Danny Vorgs' NFL power ratings and model projections will be posted either on Wednesday night or Thursday morning here for you. We'll have a golf preview for the CJ Cup from James Mazzola, a 3-1 tennis preview this week from Big Ten Watto, and of course, daily NHL picks from Parker Michaels. We got it all covered for you over at BangTheBook.com. Lots of good stuff going on. Please make sure that you check it out. Also, over on our Bang the Book YouTube page this week, I'll have a video up very shortly here this afternoon for South Alabama and Troy. Also look at a few more of those weeknight college football games. Brian will do his thing with some thoughts on the NFL and this week's golf tournament, so some good stuff coming your way over there. Finally, as you know, this and every edition of Bang the Book Radio, presented by our friends over at DSI Sportsbook. BTB and the number 200 is that promo code. 100% deposit match bonus for the Sportsbook, 100% deposit match bonus for the live casino at BetDSI. It's only a game until you bet it. Two guests on the program here today. We start things off with Brian Blessing, the host of Sportsbook Radio and Vegas Hockey Hotline. Brian, how's it going today, man?
Hey, Adam, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well, man. Appreciate your time as always here, sir. And my condolences, my thoughts and prayers that it's getting cold out there in Vegas.
Oh, you got to see me, man. What a baby. I mean, I was self-admitted baby. It's, like 55. I mean, I got sweatpants on, a hooded sweatshirt. And when you live out here, and especially when you come from Buffalo, your blood thins out and changes. I mean, my wife's running around. She's in shorts and a tank top. I'm bundled up like Nanook of the North.
I tailgated the Browns game on Sunday. Cold wind coming off the lake. We obviously saw the impact of that with a couple of missed PATs down in the dog pound end, the east end of the stadium. But it was like 40 degrees in the morning, and I was embarrassed with myself for how cold I was. I gotta build up that Great Lakes tolerance to the cold again. I guess yours is just gone.
Oh no, beyond gone. It's sad. I'm weeping for myself that I've turned into such a baby. But I'll muddle through.
Yeah, you're gonna have to. You don't really have a choice there. But speaking of the NFL and what we saw here over the weekend, what did you see that kind of stood out a little bit outside of the atrocious officiating league wide?
Well, you took the words out of my mouth. I was gonna say I saw more than the officials did.
Oh my God.
That the Lions kind of put themselves in that spot. There were so many times they could have put that game away. But that was egregious at the end of the game. I mean, those calls were just god-awful. And then go to the end of the Jets-Cowboys game. The game-winning drive, was it 6 plays in a row there were a flag? And then on the 2-point conversion where there was a foul, they didn't call something? It's like, I have no idea. And then, by the way, speaking of the rest, and we're carping and moaning, did you watch all of the game last night, most of it?
Yeah.
Well, what were the Lions doing? Unless I missed something, because I was flipping back and forth to a bunch of stuff. But you had the one drive that it was a long pass, and it was clearly interference, and the Lions didn't challenge it. And that would have been a field goal. Then the Packers would have needed the touchdown at the end. I don't understand why they didn't challenge unless they'd already done it, unless I missed that. This is just a mess, man.
It really is. And, not only that, but you can challenge pass interference now, as everybody knows, but it hasn't been overturned a whole lot. The officials are just kind of sticking with their calls on the field, and it's not working. So I guess maybe they feel like the risk reward isn't there. Maybe, potentially giving up the timeout, it's just not worth it. But man, there's been, I think there's been 7 out of 40 that have been overturned. And of course, I mean, this is a rule that I don't know if it should be in place or not. The reason it's in place is because there was an egregious missed call in an enormous playoff game. But if you're not going to overturn these calls, then what the hell is the point?
Well, they've made it worse.
Yeah, right.
They've absolutely made the situation worse. I mean, listen, college football too. I mean, if you watch the Iowa-Penn State game, the Penn State, the tight end catches the pass, all the announcers and the referee expert that they have to bring in. Oh, yeah, well, the ball broke the plane. His knee's down, but by that point, everybody said it's a touchdown. And the referees come out and said, and the ball will be placed at the 1 yard line, not the 1 foot line, the 1 yard line. It's like, and then they didn't get a touchdown. And you're sitting there going, what am I missing? And oh, by the way, in that game last night, and the Lions are chirping today, and rightly so, the way that ended. How about the 4th and goal 1 yard plunge they had? I don't think the Lions guy scored. It wasn't conclusive one way or the other, so it ended up being the call on the field. But the one side judge comes in, and he's spotting it short, and then the other guy threw a pile, throws his hands up like he's damn sure it was a touchdown. And then you watch the replay, and like, you show me where that ball crossed the goal line, but it wasn't conclusive, so the call stood. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. Maybe we're just better letting them call the game and just whine at the referees and take replay the hell out of all of this stuff.
I don't know, man. I mean, I've reffed some high-level high school hockey, and obviously that's not college football or the NFL, and, you don't have as many rule calls to make and all that type of thing. But, I try to sympathize with these guys because I at least have some frame of reference of what's going on out there, at least from a hockey standpoint. And I get it. It's the social media era. Everything is, a screenshot. Everything's a still. You've got 25 different replay angles, but that's what the point of replay is supposed to be, to actually get it right. To get it wrong twice following a replay review, I mean, that's embarrassing. I mean, that's the complete opposite, the antithesis of what it's supposed to be there for. So,
well, the Lions
I don't know.
I don't know either, buddy, but the Lions played that, albeit, they let the Packers have this shot. They give Jamal Williams credit. I'm sitting there to my wife, they should let him score. She goes, what? I go, trust me. And, the problem was they really telegraphed they were letting him score. That he was running and he saw, and then he realized that he laid down, so he did the right thing. But the Lions had played that perfectly, where, Stafford's going to get the ball back with a minute to go and a chance to kick the game-winning field goal, and they call the hands to the face. Whatever happened to when the game is on the line, let them play? And you better be doggone sure that something egregious happened. So simply because this guy throws his head back, these guys just have itchy flag fingers. At the end of the game, in basketball, right? 1 point game, guy drives the lane. There's blood all over the floor. And nobody bitches because they go, well, the game was on the line, they let them play. Well, football doesn't do that.
No.
And football's a contact sport.
Yeah, and it's almost like they're afraid to be wrong more than anything else. So they just throw a flag on everything. And they're like, well, you know what? At least it kind of looks like something, so we're going to call it. As opposed to, again, that call in the playoffs, where that's why we have the rule now. I mean, they were dead wrong. And I guess that's it. Maybe they just feel like the penalty for being outright wrong with a missed call is worse than being wrong on something that wasn't there. The NFL has to do something about it. I mean, the product was tough enough to watch to a degree anyway, with, the roughing the passer calls being increased last year and all that type of thing. I mean, you cough on a quarterback now, it's 15. And I don't know how they fix this. I don't know what they do here. But then you've got different playing standards over the course of the year. Guys aren't going to know what's a flag and what isn't. It's something that needs to be rectified after the season, but it'd be great if they had some kind of patchwork solution for right now.
Well, we could do this forever. I mean, but I wrap it up and say this. I mean, I'll go all the way back, years and years and years when I was a kid, and, following the Bills, and I'd see Jerry Markbright walk on the field. And I go, they're losing. My brother and I go, they're done. The minute you saw Jerry Markbright being the referee, you're like, they're done. And it was like automatic. And some of the calls, and you sit there and go, So, I mean, I've been, whining about this garbage for 50 years. But I'll tell you right now, in this day and age, I started talking about this last year. Ed Hockley's kid. All right? If you see that guy reffing a game, strap in. It's like a Yankees-Red Sox games time 3. I mean, it's holding. I've never seen anything like it. They over-officiate beyond the moon when I see this hockey league kids. So if I'm sitting there from afar watching this and as I see the guy for the first time going, this is going to be a nightmare. This guy's going to over-officiate pull the Marv Levy when he was with the Chiefs out there. He's being over officiating jerk. And I can identify this before the game even starts, and sure enough, there you go, and it's a hanky fest. What's the league offices doing? What are they watching? How do they grade these things out?
I mean, part of it, at least from what I've seen in Major League Baseball, I mean, you're an umpire until you retire or you die. I mean, there's no repercussion for getting shit wrong, and they get shit wrong all the time at a lesser rate than the NFL, which is amazing enough. But I guess to bring this back to the reason why we're here to talk about betting, what the hell are we supposed to do from a betting standpoint with this? Because you get the bad hands to the face calls, you get the PI calls and all that type of thing, and that you would think helps the over. But then you get all these holding calls, or the Landry unnecessary roughness blindside block was absurd. That's a 15-yarder on the Browns that should have never been called. Takes them back. So how are you supposed to handle this from a betting standpoint?
Listen, man, I don't know. It's football. This is the other one. The safety comes up and hits the wide receiver. Well, they're running at breakneck speed, and the guy is diving for the ball. The Lions safety comes up. He's playing the ball where the ball's being thrown. He lowers his shoulder. He's going for the ball. They hit helmets, and the guy gets a helmet-to-helmet hit. The wide receiver lowered his head into him. I mean, the rules are already stacked against the defense. You just sit there and go, I mean, you don't want to see anybody get hurt, but let's just cut to the chase. These guys have a lot of zeros after their paycheck, and they know what they're signing up for when they go out there. No, you don't want anybody to get hurt, but come on. I mean, for the longest time, a flag's getting thrown because a guy got hit too hard.
Yeah.
Why do people like NASCAR, right? It's exciting, but Talladega, the big accident, cut to the chase. It's part of the thing. It's hockey. Hockey's trying to get fighting out of the game. It's the stupidest thing in the world. There are more guys that get hurt now because, everybody's brave because they can go cross-check a guy in the numbers and send him neck first into the boards because he knows that somebody's not going to come and beat the hell out of him. But more guys get seriously hurt in hockey because they're taking fighting out. Oh, by the way, hey, go to a hockey game. When two guys drop the gloves, which happens every 3.5 weeks, 18,000 people stand up. Come on. It's the participation ribbon era. Okay? I mean, let's get there. I'm not being a knuckle drag in the Neanderthal. I don't want to see anybody get hurt. But it's sports. I mean, this is, and these guys know the risks that are involved when they go out there.
Well, and again, I mean, obviously it's something that we can rant about, all show long here if we wanted to. But again, the thing that I keep bringing this back to is the NFL is hard enough to win betting on games anyway. Now I have no idea. I feel like to some degree it's all guesswork now, between the fact that, you got the officials having such an impact on the game, and then also these coaches and their ludicrous play calling, their awful game theory, not knowing what to do in the red zone, whether it's bad play design, kicking field goals when they shouldn't. The NFL feels like guesswork nowadays.
Well, the NFL doesn't do this, but the college thing, it drives me nuts. And I'm a Penn State guy, right? And I'm going, even them. I mean, for all the years I watched slow, plotty offenses, and now they get athletes and they play up tempo. They have the ball, like you said, at the 1 foot line, and they snap the ball 5 yards back in the shotgun. What is this running the ball out of the shotgun on a short yarded situation in all levels of football? Why would you need a foot? Why are you snapping the ball back 5.5 yards? It's insanity to me. Has anybody ever heard of a quarterback under center, a quarterback sneak, or hand it to the fullback? Or you watch all this stuff and you shake your head. They'll give you another one. The quarterback back to pass. I get it. Blows to the head. Some guy comes in, he jumps over a tackle, and he's trying to block a pass, and he comes down, he does a tomahawk chop on the guy's helmet. Yeah, okay, I get it, roughing the pass. But a guy's running by, and his pinky grazes the guy's helmet, and it's roughing the passer. It's insanity.
Yeah. I really don't know how much more we can say here. So I guess it's just a good idea to get into some of these games. And we'll start with Thursday night here. Kansas City and Denver. And not a good look for the Chiefs again last week. They have a big first quarter against Houston, but really not a whole lot after that. And in fact, we see the perception of the Chiefs here really coming down this line, down from 5.5 to 3 minus 115, 3 minus 120 out there. Not just in some of the sharper books, but also some of the very public books now with a lot of anti-Chiefs sentiment out there. And maybe they're just moving with the market. Maybe some public players are kind of off of Kansas City right now until Patrick Mahomes gets healthy. But man, all of a sudden, this game takes on a very different look here with Denver seemingly a pretty live dog given the movement we've seen so far.
Well, I think the one concern you got is Mahomes is kind of running around on one foot for long stretches of the games. He starts fresh, 1 or 2 tackles, and he's re-aggravating the injury, but he's still got ridiculous weapons. The one thing that's going on is their defense is not playing lights out, and I don't think they run the ball at all. I mean, very effectively. I mean, LaShawn McCoy, it's a running back by committee thing. They're not lining up and running it down people's throats. Now, that's going to be a real problem for him when they get to January. The way it's going, I can even say this, I guess, if they get to January. But you can make the real case, Adam, it should be a 3-game losing streak because the Lions should have beat them. I mean, the Lions fumble at the 1-inch line. It's a 100-yard fumble going the other way, and then Mahomes had to make a great play on a 4th and 8 on a game-winning drive. We're talking about a 3-game losing streak, and maybe Indy really did, put that blueprint out there, and Houston was really physical with them. A short week, now you're going to Denver, and Denver's offense doesn't scare anybody. They're going to line up, they're going to run it at you, and if Flacco protects the football, you bet they're live.
Yeah, and you look at Denver here too, and I know they started 0-3, and they did play that close game, or they started 0-4, I guess. They played that close game against Chicago, played the game against Jacksonville. This was a Denver team that, even going into last week where they really shut down Tennessee, they were outgaining opponents on the season by 0.1 yards per play. Now, obviously that's not a lot, but when you talk about a team that runs the football as much as they do, when you talk about a team with Joe Flacco and how he's not really much of a vertical passer, the fact that Denver was outgaining teams was a good sign going forward. Now it's plus 0.3 yards per play after shutting out Tennessee. So Denver was a better team than the 0-4 record would suggest. Now they've won a couple of games back-to-back. You sort of wonder here if maybe Vic Fangio and his coaching staff are kind of finding something. Maybe if there's just some positive regression here for this team. Again, their point differential exactly even. They're more like a 3-3 team from a point differential standpoint, maybe a 3.5 win team from a yards per play standpoint. Now Kansas City coming in, their short week, banged up quarterback, but the line value is gone on Denver at this point. You can't take a 3.5 reduced or 3.5 extra juice or a 3 reduced juice, I don't think.
Well, you can make the case Denver should have been 2-2, not 0-4. I mean, they weren't the 0-4 Dolphins, right? I don't know. I would say this: it's probably a correlated deal. If Denver's your side, Denver in the under. If you like Kansas City, they forced Denver into becoming a little more one-dimensional. But at this point, I think you alluded to it. I think with Lindsey, I think they run the ball more effectively. Short week and playing in altitude. I mean, there are a lot of things that do point Denver's way. Flacco just doesn't wow you. It's one of these things where, I'm stepping up to the plate. Joe Flacco's going to have a big game. It's a weird one. It's more a fade on Kansas City than a play on Denver.
Yeah, that's true. And it seems like maybe to some degree, that's kind of the way that the NFL has gone a little bit here so far this season. One thing I do want to mention, I thought Mahomes looked a little bit uncomfortable playing in the dome for the first time. You just kind of get used to throwing into certain weather conditions. And, in the dome, obviously, everything's a controlled environment, stuff like that. Mahomes, in his start last year at Denver, 28 of 45, 304 yards, 1 touchdown. Longest pass play, only 35 yards in that game. So, you got to make some subtle adjustments when you throw in the altitude. Maybe something for Mahomes, a kid who's got obviously a monster arm. Maybe you worry a little bit about his accuracy early on in the game. And then obviously if that ankle gets worse too, you sort of worry about that. So maybe a first half under type situation, something like that. Maybe something I would consider here for this game. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that or not.
Well, no, I mean that's a way to approach it for sure. The one thing I would say is it does stand to reason that Tyreek Hill will get even better, and he did have an impact on the game. For him to come back in, and they had other guys, based on maybe the opponents they were playing earlier in the year, they were getting away with things, and Sammy Watkins stepped up, but Tyreek Hill is back, and that is the one thing. I mean, he's a game changer on one play. See, that's the thing. We always think of the highlight real plays, and we watch that stuff. But it's those 60, 70-yard passes. It's not only the punch to the gut and the score, Adam. It flips the field, right? I mean, not only is it the score or it's a big play, but you instantly change field position. And one play, or as we started talking about, one stupid call can literally change an entire game. And that's the one thing you do get with Tyreek Hill back. He is a game changer.
I wanted to throw this game at you here. I think this is probably the absolute hardest handicap of the week, but I wanted to throw it at you here. Game 463, 464, Rams and Falcons. Rams 3-point favorite here, reduced juice all over the market, some plus money prices as well. Atlanta was a 3.5-point dog at home, now 3, -120, -125. So maybe a sign we could go down to 2.5 here. Is there any chance that you can bet either one of these teams this week?
No. You bet the total. You bet the game over. Ryan, he's got weapons and they sling it around. If Ryan is protected, they go right down the field. They really do. I mean, but if Donald is eating their lunch and making Ryan run around, then the Falcons are in trouble. I mean, their defense is literally Swiss cheese. The one thing I would watch for maybe in this game, and I would watch for this during the week and get the reports, this stuff with Todd Gurley, for the degenerative knee. All right, now it's a quad injury, so I don't know how bad that was. But if Gurley's going to play in this game, there's this belief out there, well, they're going to save Gurley for the end of the year and keep him. Well, they better worry about now. So I think Gurley goes off if he plays in this game. I mean, he will, and it's a big thing, I think, from a mindset perspective. And I would say this to you, and I think this is fair. If Jared Goff had played a decent game, I mean, just a decent game in the Super Bowl, the Rams win the Super Bowl. And Goff has not been the same quarterback since that game. And I don't know that Belichick had some blueprint and pro sports are copycat leagues and something's on tape that they spot, that everybody's seeing what that model was to beat the Rams. But there are long stretches of these games where he looks lost out there. I mean, his decision-making process, he is not the same quarterback since the Super Bowl.
No, he's not. And the ironic thing about this game is the Falcons aren't the same team since they blew that 28-3 lead to the Patriots in the Super Bowl. I mean, it's kind of been a dark cloud hanging over this team for a very long time.
And Bryant misses the extra point. My God. I mean, what else can go wrong? They drive down, they find a way, they battle back, and Bryant misses the extra point. I mean, they had all the momentum at Arizona. Maybe they get a win. Now they get another, kick in the teeth, and how they react to that. I mean, they found amazing ways for things to go wrong.
They have, and the big question I have here, you've got 2 weeks left until the bye for Atlanta, and it sort of feels like they're trying to hold on until the bye week to fire Dan Quinn. I mean, look, you're 1-5 at this point. You've got home games against the Rams and the Seahawks here coming up. You're probably not a playoff team, but I feel like maybe on Monday you say, Dan, we appreciate your efforts, but we're going to go in a different direction. Try to salvage these 2 games if you can. Get to 3-5 at the bye when you then play at New Orleans, at Carolina, coming out of that bye week, which are obviously 2 huge division games. It almost sort of feels here like they've kind of given up on the season because they haven't done something aggressive to try and change the dynamic, change the culture, whatever it is. That's what worries me here is that they've probably got a lame duck head coach for the next 2 weeks. We'll see if it's the rest of the year. But I worry about that for Atlanta here too, where you did battle back last week. You still came up short. You gave up 34 points on the road to, an Arizona team that's had a lot of problems throughout the year. I don't know what Atlanta's mindset is right now, but it's not good. And the Rams obviously have their issues, but I would have to take Rams here. I don't think it's a great play by any means, but if I had to play it in a pick 'em pool or something like that, I would have to take Los Angeles, even though obviously there's plenty of reasons not to like it.
Yeah, I mean, if I was forced to, I would trust the Rams more, certainly. I'm with you on that. But, save the game against the Niners, go back to the games prior to that. The Rams allowed 29, 40 in the games to the Bucs game was the one to me. Like, what was that? Where'd that come from? And then, Seattle puts 30 up on them. And I don't know. The San Francisco thing, that's a cute story. Are you buying San Francisco? I mean, honestly, I am. Well,
you're not?
No, I think they play hard. I know that. What's to knock? But I don't know. I'm wondering how sustainable it is. I mean, it's sustainable for a while. I mean, they're playing the Redskins, the Panthers at home, at Arizona. They play Arizona twice in the next 4 weeks. And you look at their schedule, I guess. I don't know.
The thing for me, their defense is elite. I mean, their offense, it is what it is. I don't think Jimmy G's that great of a quarterback, but their defense is elite, and they can get after the quarterback, and they can make things real hell. And they keep making subtle adjustments, too, to where they're doing more concepts that are Vic Fangio related. I've been reading about this over at The Athletic. There's been some very good stuff about it. They're doing subtle little things in the back seven that are enhancing, what they're able to do back there, along with that pass rush being so good. The defense is elite. The offense I am worried about. I agree there.
I love you like a brother, but elite? I can't go. Listen, here, okay. The first 3 weeks of the year, right? Cowboys. Oh, they were throwing a parade. They were talking like the Cowboys were the 85 Bears. Right? They beat Eli Manning, who was a pylon. Then they beat the Redskins and the Dolphins. Now they've played 3 decent football teams, and they've lost all 3. San Francisco, they played Tampa Bay, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh with God knows who was a quarterback. The Rams are a mess. And now they get the Redskins and Cleveland, who was a dysfunctional group. Who have they played? Okay, the Rams game was really impressive. The first 4 games, who have they played? I mean, that's the only thing I would say. I can't go the elite route yet. I mean, I just don't think they played anybody.
I mean, that's fair, but people are also calling the Patriots the best defense ever, and they haven't really played anybody either. And those two teams are 1 and 2 in yards per play allowed. The Bills are 3rd, the Bears are 4th.
The Bills have played nobody. Yeah. The Patriots have played nobody. But you got to give.
Here's the ultimate problem: there are too many nobodies in the NFL.
Well, that's there you go. Well, we're so quick. Adam, we've been doing this now a lot of years together, all right? But I mean, literally, it's Vegas sports betting 101. Don't overreact to what you last witnessed. And everybody does it. I mean, you warn and you throw that caveat all the time. I had people yapping to me about the Cowboys, those 3 games. I go, what are you guys seeing? I'm not. Oh, Dak Prescott. Look. I go, yeah. It's like hockey. It's like an unrestricted free agent. The guy's going to play like a banshee. He's playing for money. Dak Prescott come out of the gate. He's playing for a contract, and the only saving grace was that Jerry Jones didn't pull the trigger and give him $40 million a year. It's like Ryan Fitzpatrick had a month. He had an incredible month the one year at the beginning of the season with the Bills. They were going up and down the field. Oh, Ryan Fitzpatrick, they gave him $64 million. He couldn't hit a blocking sled with the pass after that.
All right, well, I don't know. I mean, again, we'll see. Like I said, the problem is that there are just too many bad teams in the NFL right now. So it is hard to get a gauge on a lot of these different teams. But I do want to spend a couple of minutes real quickly on both the NHL and the golf side of things here. Anything you're looking at here for Tuesday night? We got what, 8 games on the card tonight? What are you looking at?
Well, I mean, it's got to stop at some point. But I say play it until it does. And I have literally been on the Kings over, and they've gone over the total in their first 5 games. The numbers are stupefying. The first 4 games, let me, if I do the quick math. So it's 5 games, 11, 18, 28, 39. They have given, in Kings games, in the first 5 games, 46 goals have been scored. They are playing at a breakneck pace, and on power play, their older guys, Kopitar and Brown and Doughty, they're really, really good. And their kids are flying up and down the ice. They are hanging their goaltenders out to dry. And Carolina's starting, you got a great start to the season, and they're starting a road trip, and you always want to get off just like Colorado did at Washington, 6-game road trip. That first game, when you see a team that's going on a long road trip, they want to get that long road trip off to a good start. They throw a lot of intensity into that first game on a road trip. So I think Carolina's going to really bring it tonight. But just the way the Kings play, they're rebuilding. If you want to call it transition or a complete rebuild, whatever you want to call it, at least they're entertaining. I don't know how many, what the wins are going to be at the end of the year, but the way McClellan's got them playing, it's a track meet, bud. I mean, it is 2-on-1s and 3-on-2s, odd man rushes all over the place from the minute they drop the puck. So I like the over in the Carolina Kings game.
6.5 the total for that one. Carolina, a very, very good team. Analytics love them. They've got a lot of different options for scoring. So I think that you're definitely on the right track with that one. What about Nashville and Vegas tonight? We've seen about a 20-cent line move down from minus 150 to minus 127 to 135 out there in the marketplace. What do you think about Vegas tonight?
Good game. I'm not going anywhere near it. Vegas, to their credit, and Gallant kind of called them out. He very rarely does this. He kind of veiled it with the media, but he got their attention over the weekend. It was problematic. Nate Schmidt's out of the lineup. Alex Tuck and Cody Eakin had been out. But it was really concerning. Boston and Arizona skated rings around Vegas last week. And they got mauled in the Arizona game. And the Boston game ended up being a 1-goal game. It wasn't that close. But they did respond. They beat Calgary and then went down and played the Kings in a game that was glorified pond hockey. So I wouldn't go overboard on Vegas. But the one thing that they did do over the weekend, they responded with effort. I mean, the effort, I don't think was there in the Arizona game. They kind of got called out a little bit. 2 really, really good teams. I think teams that maybe could bump into each other, when we get to the spring. I honestly, I don't have a great opinion. If I had to, I'd play under the total. If I had to play under 6.5, Fleury and Rennie, that would probably be the way to go. I don't think Nashville doesn't strike me as this rocket sled team either. So I think it'll be a lot of dump and chase, and so I'll lean under. Okay, you forced me into that. If I had to, that's what I'd say.
All right, one more item of business here on this segment. We'll go over to South Korea here as the Asian swing kicks off on the PGA Tour. It's about 78 players here in the CJ Cup at Nine Bridges. 3rd year of this event, top 60 in last year's FedEx Cup standings. A lot of Asian players from the Korean Tour, the Asian Tour, the other 3 top Korean players in the official world golf ranking. A lot of those Asian players definitely at very, very long prices here this week. The favorite, Justin Thomas. The second favorite, Brooks Koepka. 2 years of this tournament, Thomas won it, Koepka won it. Koepka won it by 4 strokes last year during the wraparound portion of the season. Matsuyama, Fleetwood, Hovland, Im, Woodland, Morikawa, Spieth, Day, Leishman, some of the big names here in this one. Who are you looking at here over in South Korea with an early start here on Wednesday as well?
Yeah, the one thing I'd like, Sung Jae Im, 22-1. No, thanks. I mean, come on. I mean, the kid's a good young player. Until he wins, there's no way he should be 22-1. I mean, I took
Not
a big lighter
like this anyway.
No, I took a big lighter to money on this kid. Last year that he's on the precipice of a win. He never got it, but he is in his backyard. If he wins, God bless. Not for me. I think the one thing you mentioned, Thomas and Koepka, one thing these 2 guys have in common, they hit it a long way. But I'm seeing some ridiculous overlay prices that, come on, I mean, are you kidding me? that we're sitting here with J.B. Holmes at 175 to 1? Like, come on, what? I mean, the guy can hit it a mile. I mean, he's a world-class player. How's he not in the 40, 50 to 1 range? I'd look at something wacko like that. I will not get off Fratelli. I'm telling you, Adam, he shows up every week. Where I lost him here. Do you see him? You got Fratelli?
About 60 to 1.
Yep.
60 to 1-ish.
Yeah, there he is, 60 to 1. Dylan Fratelli with current form means something to me. And I'll throw one at you. The last tournament at the Shriners, he had 3 really good rounds and then shot a 70 in the final round, which, you had to shoot 67 or better virtually every day. Lucas Glover is in pretty good form. I think he had a bad hole on the Sunday in the Shriners, or he'd have been right there at the top of the list. I think Lucas Glover comes strutting in here at 50 to 1 under the radar in really good form. So Glover would be my top pick.
Well, we'll try to work some more golf in next week. I don't know if next week is the event in Japan or if it's
there's 3
the HSB. I don't know if next week might be the HSB, the WGC event. So that should be another strong field here, which, again, kind of explains why this is such a strong field as guys want to get over there, get acclimated to the conditions, the time change, the date change, all that different type of stuff. So
hey, remember this Asian swing. It was like the beginning of the end for Jordan Spieth. Remember that? I mean, he's winning everything under the sun. Then he did that big tour over to Asia, and he has not been the same player since he did that.
Yeah, I do remember that. Definitely remember that. And, of course, we'll talk about this Asian swing here on our segments with Brian Blessing, the host of Sportsbook Radio and Vegas Hockey Hotline. Brian, how can people check out those 2 shows of yours?
Just so you know, Adam, next week is the Japan Skins game. What's this? And then
new event.
Then the Zozo Championship. That's another one in Japan. And then they have one in Bermuda. And the WGC event in China is not until October 31st.
Yeah, okay.
There you go. Hey, Sportsbook Radio, Vegas Hockey Island, noon to 2 Pacific, kshp.com. You can listen to them live. The archives are at sportsbookradio.com. Great hockey guests on the hockey show. If you're a hockey fan, it's not just Vegas-centric. I mean, we do talk about the entire league. And then Sportsbook Radio. Today, Tony Neville, sportsbook director from Treasure Island. We've got the top sportsbook directors in Vegas on the shows daily. Handicappers like Mark Lawrence, Bruce Marshall. Great guests. A lot of the stuff you do, man. I mean, we do our level best and get the information from both sides of the counter. And I also get the shows up via Twitter at Brian Blessing. And we're going to be getting to work here, do some videos for Bang the Book this week. I think we'll do the golf. By the way, did you watch? I know you got to go, but did you watch the Talladega race?
I just saw the highlights of the 2 crashes. It got pushed back to Monday, right?
Oh, it was awesome yesterday. But at the Talladega, man, I didn't have them. I would have been heartbroken if I had either one. But that Talladega, the rest of your lives, you step up like it's a golf tournament and bet guys that are 50 or to 100 to 1, because there were 2 big accidents. The best cars get taken out, and something goofy happens, and literally Ryan Newman had it won. Ryan Blaney bumped him in the back bumper with about 200 yards to go, came up and beat him in a photo finish. And you're sitting there looking at the 5 guys that were vying for the win, and every one of them, other than Blaney, would have broken the bank. The Talladega thing's pretty cool.
Yeah, it definitely is. And good video from you over at our Bang the Book YouTube page on that one. And again, keep an eye out for those other videos here from Brian this week. Again, Brian Blessing of Sportsbook Radio and Vegas Hockey Hotline at Brian Blessing on Twitter. Appreciate your time as always, man. Thank you so much for joining me. We'll talk to you again next week.
All right, Adam, thank you. Say hi to Ralph. It's one of these, man, you get into football season and you don't see people. Everybody's off doing their thing. Say hi to Ralph for me.